We're actually expanding, boys. We're expanding the office, the studio. I'm so freaking grateful. This is actually a marketplace server setup that I'm building for a video, so stay tuned for that. But if you guys can please subscribe. It means the world to us. Honestly, I know you guys hate when I ask, but last time I asked, like 2,000 of you guys subscribed. So, damn, thank you so much, man. For real, it means the world to us. I bought a $300 ThinkPad about 2 years ago. I left it collecting dust because, well, I never really got around using it for Linux. However, recently, I bought a house, and I've been deep diving into Linux with my personal laptop in order to become skillful with it. Because I knew that one day, I was going to get the opportunity to build my own home server. However, I don't want to spend $3,000 for a setup, so I asked myself, what if I start with junk? Bruh. Listen, I guess we can say this is a corporate hand-me-down from 2018. 8th gen i5 8350U, 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, 1 terabyte of SSD. This is like when they used to make laptops that were kinda upgradable. Yeah, good times. But the best thing about ThinkPads is how compatible they are with Linux right out of the box, which is exactly what I wanted. I didn't want to fight drivers. I wanted to test infrastructure. This is the type of hardware that will allow you to disable secure boot easily, tweak power settings, control boot order without any issues. And the reality is that for this hardware, well, there's huge community support. Like, don't worry, installing something like Ubuntu's server is incredibly easy. Like I said, it's almost plug and play, and you can be sure that you can grab any other laptop and SSH into your $300 server without any struggles. That said, there's one important power setting in systemd you absolutely need to change. Once I told Linux to ignore the lid, this stopped being a laptop and officially became a server, which is exactly what allowed me to install the tool that would actually run this PC, Casa OS. Okay, so from research and from what I've been experimenting with, you can use Casa OS as a NAS solution from what I understood, and then Nextcloud to be able to access it via the cloud, so I'm going to install that. But I also want to see if I can install DaVinci Server within Linux in order to have a complete setup for what we would use the server for. These 3 steps, they were part of a much broader picture. You see, my goal is to use Casa OS as a network drive through SMB or NFS sharing with the intention of building it into a proper NAS over time. A NAS that I want to use with the intention of centralizing all my footage, accounting, business files, photos, movies, all in one place. And it's something I was easily able to accomplish by setting up a shared folder from Casa OS to my Linux computer and my Windows PC. So dropping files into the shared folders made them immediately accessible from any device on the network. So that worked beautifully. Then instead of Nextcloud, I installed Tailscale from the Casa OS App Store so I could securely connect to my server from anywhere in the world. Because realistically, that's exactly what I wanted. Access to those shared folders like if I was at home, including from my S25 Ultra if I ever needed to do so. But the real challenge, okay, was step number 3, setting up a DaVinci Resolve project server, which unfortunately isn't available natively on Linux. That meant I had to run a Windows VM inside Linux just to host the project server. This VM would run the shared project database, allowing multiple editors on the network to connect to the same project and collaborate in real time instead of passing project files back and forth. That ended up being the most complex part of the entire project, especially given the hardware limitations of the ThinkPad T480. As you'll see. I gotta figure out my DaVinci situation. So it turns out the DaVinci server doesn't run on Linux. It's just Linux doesn't support it. But apparently production studios, what they do is that they install a VM with Windows on it, let it run forever, and then use Linux as a NAS solution, and then connect both of them. So that's pretty freaking awesome. So I'm gonna start with that, and you guys can watch me suffer, figure it out, and then I guess if you guys need the same setup, you can just copy what I'm doing. I think that's a good idea. Let's get it.
Several days later.
Haven't done anything for the server because we've been under construction, and I've also been playing with this Mac Mini because well, I was playing with Claudebot a bit. Actually, our server computer has been sitting there and it's been on ever since the last coding session. Now 2 days ago I was at home and while I was waiting for the construction guy to finish a bit of work that we have going around, I was actually implementing a VM within Linux to run Windows inside, so I could go ahead and install DaVinci server in Windows and have that run on my machine. And it's funny because I took my Linux laptop as a guinea pig, really. Here you have it. This is what I installed. Windows right there. Listen, let me just show you what I did, okay?
Listen, I kind of got ambitious with my $300 ThinkPad, okay? Installing the DaVinci project server wasn't necessarily the hard part. It was mainly dealing with Windows 11 and actually getting it to connect. Listen, let me explain what I was trying to do. Right now in my studio, we have a central Windows server that hosts all of our DaVinci projects. Every editor connects to that machine over the network. That's what allows multiple people to open the same project at the same time and edit together. It's basically the brain of our post-production workflow, and I wanted this ThinkPad to replace that. For testing purposes, I took my Mac Mini running DaVinci Resolve Studio 20 so I could eventually try to connect my Windows 11 VM running DaVinci Project Server 20. I decided to use KVM with QEMU as my virtualization engine, libvirt as my VM manager layer, and virt manager as my GUI to be able to create and manage Windows 11, of course. A GUI I could access from my personal Linux workstation to manage the virtual machine, so that was cool. Now the problem with this here is that I was starting to ask a lot from the ThinkPad. This isn't a server CPU, right? This is a laptop CPU that used to run Outlook. I'm running Linux, hosting a Windows computer inside of it, and that Windows computer is hosting my DaVinci database. And while it worked, you could feel the laptop begging for mercy. I mean, even doing the simplest of things like some port forwarding on the command line was just like incredibly slow. And port forwarding is the thing that took me the most time to figure out, because my problem was that the VM wasn't exposed to my network. And trust me, I tried a whole lot of things, like a lot. All of that just to realize the fix was using SOCAT, a lightweight port forwarder. Is it the most enterprise solution? No. Is it perfect for a $300 ThinkPad experiment? Absolutely. This is what allowed my Mac Mini to connect to my DaVinci project server hosted by a VM inside of Linux.
So now we have a full entire DaVinci Resolve project server working within Linux. I mean, sort of, it is running inside a VM, which is running on Windows 11, but my $400 ThinkPad is practically hosting the entire thing. And I am using my ThinkPad to SSH into it so I can, actually install tools and all that. I mean, I could be doing it from here, but I'd rather just use my computer for it. Now, you guys are probably wondering, why the hell do you even want to do that? Well, my Mac Mini, as you guys can see right here, now connects to that server. And that means that not only can my Mac Mini connect to that server, but Jan's PC can connect to that server, my PC can connect to that server if I was running DaVinci Resolve 20, which I'm not, but you guys get the point. And now we can collaborate on projects all together at the same time. So my $400 ThinkPad practically is running Casa OS. Now this DaVinci whole entire setup with Windows 11 inside of it, Tailscale, and I want to keep installing other tools to make this thing like practically perfect. Okay, super quickly, last night I took my Linux laptop home and I was able to use Tailscale to connect to a shared folder I had shared within Casa OS, and it actually works. Like, I can transfer files into it being home or being anywhere else in the world on another Wi-Fi connection. So that's amazing. That's exactly what I wanted. Now I'm not done my setup. I'm missing Olama, which I want to pair with Open Web UI, I think that's what it's called, as my local LLM and front end. I'm still missing I want to install N8N. I want to give that a try to see how it is, and then Home Assistant. So those are the things and the tools that I'm missing, because technically this ThinkPad is what's going to be powering my home. Not exactly a ThinkPad itself. I just want to see what a $400 ThinkPad can do, but this is sort of the setup I kind of want to run.
Even though for now this ThinkPad lives here, I can now bring this home and centralize all of our footage from there, because thanks to Tailscale, we can easily connect from the office to the house in order to edit projects. Now, to finalize my setup, I downloaded Olama with a couple of models, to be honest. On a machine like this, without a DGPU though, it's going to be slow. Don't expect like much from it. I wouldn't use it for that, but if you want to test it, know that you have to configure Olama to bind to 0.0.0.0 instead of localhost, so it can actually listen on the network and not just on the ThinkPad itself. I also ran Open Web UI inside a Docker container because I didn't want to install a bunch of dependencies directly onto the system. And on top of that, this is how you do it with CasaOS. Containers keep everything isolated, clean, and easy to restart if something breaks. And what's cool about CasaOS is that you can add Docker apps directly to your dashboard by linking to their web interface, which is exactly the same setup I ran with N8N.
Yes, sir. So the only reason I know N8N is because I took a look at a video from Network Chuck and it was pretty freaking interesting. And so basically what N8N is that it's this free tool, literally it's free, open source, that you can use to automate stuff, which is pretty cool. Anyways, listen, I am going to be playing with it a bit, see what I can do. This is literally my test dummy. But there's one more tool I need to install, and that's Home Assistant.
N8N is a tool I wanted to use in order for me to get the latest stories regarding the stock market. Now, for a ThinkPad, slowdowns will happen depending on what triggers your setup. Like light automations is totally fine. Webhooks and small workflows will be okay. But heavy AI chains and lots of executions will slow it down. For AI specifically, this is not the machine you want to be running long term, but for Home Assistant, it'll be perfect. And Home Assistant is something I also installed with Docker, and the ThinkPad can easily power a simple system like mine. Some bulbs, a few sensors, a camera here and there. As long as you're not doing any real-time video analysis with long-term energy dashboard statistics and complex automations firing constantly, you'll be good. But listen, realistically, I think one of the greatest things to do with a server like this is to back up your photos. And downloading an app called Image from the CasaOS App Store does it all for you. Not only is it extremely easy to set up, but it very much reminds me of Google Photos. I mean, even their app within the Play Store very much looks and feels like Google Photos.
Yo, and the photos, like, they sync extremely quickly. Like, it's so freaking easy to use. I absolutely love this app. Take a look at this. It's just, quick. Everything's quick. And they just populate right here. See that? That's awesome. Very, very cool. Anyways, listen, I don't want to get into the whole Jellyfin situation because of obvious reasons. But Jellyfin is a great app to download to watch movies and have like your own personalized Netflix catalog. The one thing I'll say about the ThinkPad is that it'll definitely struggle in real-time 4K video conversion when you're streaming video from the server. So don't really expect it to do that well. But look, if I keep pushing this the way I'm pushing it, I'm definitely gonna run out of RAM already at 70%. But
guys, for $300, I mean, you can accomplish quite a lot with the ThinkPad. Some things will run exceptionally well and others not so much, but if you want a media server, a NAS to store files, footage, back up your pictures, and control some of your automation, something like this can get the job done without an issue. I mean, it just works. But because of AI, I might need to run something different. To be continued.